Former President Donald Trump put on an apron today to pull off a political stunt in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Do you want to give it a try?
I do.
Working the fryer to try and claim without any evidence that Vice President Kamala Harris didn't work at a McDonald's while in college, as she said she did.
She never worked at McDonald's.
At a rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh Saturday, Trump issued some of his harshest insults of Harris yet.
You're a vice president. The worst. You're the worst vice president.
And the fact that these people are accusing him of a stage managed thing, of course the president has to have security because there have been 2 attempts on his life in the last 8 weeks. He can't just walk into a McDonald's and sign a W-9 and actually go on the payroll. That's just not how this works, especially given the security threats on his life. But look, he was interacting with people. He was talking to the employees. He was giving people food, and he was just being, I think, what he does best, which is just being among the people, talking to them about what they care about. He showed, I think, genuine interest in the employees and their lives and where they came from and what they were actually doing in their job. And that's something you can't stage and you can't fake. That is just the genuine person that Donald Trump is. And it's why I think a lot of working people, even though, of course, he's a successful real estate billionaire, have this emotional connection to Donald Trump. You can't make up that kind of connection. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris has tried and failed. And I think it's why her campaign is flailing a little bit right now, is because she goes into Sheets and does 4 takes of her buying Doritos. Donald Trump just goes into McDonald's and he is who he is.
Yes, when this campaign started with Kamala, a lot of people said, oh, she is running a joyful campaign. But when you look at things today, a lot has changed. There is nothing to be joyful. Looking at what Trump did a few hours ago, and a lot of people are stunned. I understand that the mainstream media hardly acknowledges something. CNN was forced to do that. When you take a look here, you can see it. They say it's a smart move. When you look at how the thing trend on social media, Kamala struggled to balance up, had an interview on MSNBC at the same time. Nobody watched the interview. When you take a look at this guy, some in the press called Trump McDonald's photo bizarre. This is how you lost credibility. That was a home run photo op. He looked like a real person there, connecting with the average American. If you can't see that, you are totally blind. Yes, it is while it insists that Kamala Harris didn't work at McDonald's when she was younger. When you look at proofs like this, you can clearly see that they have struggled to get a record if she actually worked there. Oh, they can't see, so I don't understand.
And clearly the people loved it, Natasha.
Josh, do you agree? A brilliant strategic move, because meanwhile, we do see Trump saying Harris never worked there, the Harris campaign having to defend that. What do you make of this back and forth?
I agree. I do. And if Democrats can't be honest, even when we may detest our opponent, then it's going to be counterproductive for us as a party. It was genius. He took what is such an infinitesimal attack that she never worked at McDonald's. It wouldn't even make the radar in a senior class president campaign, let alone a presidential campaign. And he turns it into another news cycle that he dominates. And quite frankly, it shows his ability to do retail. And I think it should spur the Harris campaign in these last 16 days to do alternative media, to take back, really the narrative and to do shows like Joe Rogan, to do a chicken shop date and utilizing that alternative media, because if Trump continues to dominate the media dialogue for the next 16 days, it's not going to be good for us on election.
They are acknowledging that Man West tweeted the lips are setting over Trump's visit to McDonald's because they know that their candidate has never done anything interesting, funny, and relatable. She's not only incompetent and morally vicious, but a total bore on top of it. Trump is running laps around her and they know it. Trump take over the news. People are still talking about him. There is nothing to talk about Kamala at this time. That is to tell you he has mastered the media. He knows exactly what to do to switch up the conversations around him. How many days? From one after another. Today, this, tomorrow, this. Just telling things around him. Kamala, they don't understand exactly how to do this. It is not by attacking, doing this. There are simple acts that you can carry out that will change people's mind, like what I saw with this move.
Back to when the world knew Trump simply as a real estate mogul and a New York City tabloid fixture.
A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret? Together, Grimace, we could own this town.
Now Trump is stepping behind the counter at McDonald's, this time for a campaign stop in the battleground state of Pennsylvania.
I'm looking for a job, and I've always wanted to work at McDonald's, but I never did. I'm running against somebody that said she did, but it turned out to be a totally phony story. So if you don't mind, I want to work the French fry counter.
So Trump there once again claiming without evidence that Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's in the 80s. That dispute inspiring this campaign stop over the weekend. Trump, of course, no stranger to the Golden Arches, his love for fast food well documented. In 2019, Trump hosted Clemson's football team after they won the national championship and served up this spread of French fries and burgers at the White House. And during his Sunday visit to McDonald's, Trump again put on the apron. He manned the fry station. He handed out food through the drive-thru window to customers who, according to the Washington Post, were pre-screened by the Secret Service. The restaurant was closed to the public for the event.
I love salt. Wait a minute, I spilled some. I'm very superstitious.
Our panel has returned. So I have to say, when I first saw that image of Trump kind of hanging out the drive-thru window, a part of me thought, wow, is that real? I never thought he would do something like that. The Trump that we saw in 1999 in that old ad is the one that was much more familiar to me. Like, look, we're going to run this town, right? Like someone who owns a McDonald's, not someone who works in one. I mean, clearly they have a strategy to try to appeal to working class voters, try to, twist the knife on Harris. But I still found these images to be jarring.
Well, part of what is so striking about them is that he's not trying to not be Donald Trump. Like some politicians go and they try to dress up as somebody they're not. He's still got the red tie. He's still so clearly himself. And I think this was an unbelievably smart move, because one thing that has differentiated Donald Trump from other really wealthy politicians is that he has never been seen as the aloof, the billionaire who would never deign to hang out with the commoners. Like, he has always sort of portrayed himself as, I'm the rich guy who doesn't really like the other rich guys. I'm one of you. And this is part of this. I think this was insanely smart.
Well, to that point, it is part of a larger effort on the Trump campaign to sort of soften Donald Trump's image. It's why you've seen his grandkids sort of appearing at the rally and also spoke at the RNC. There's a larger effort going on by the Trump campaign to appeal to some of those suburban women that he's currently losing.
The most humanizing moment in that clip was when he threw the salt over his shoulder. It was like such a normal reaction that anyone who's like, oh, like we all do that when you're cooking or whatever. And so that was the most like normalizing and humanizing moment, I think, in this clip. But to your point, like he still has his shirt on, his tie on. Like most politicians would have showed up in like a collared shirt or something that said McDonald's and tried to like more fit in. I did find it striking that the whole restaurant was shut down and it was just sort of like a staged event, but I do think it is definitely like poking at the vice president.
I will also say, though, him showing up with Grimace in that old ad, I bet that gets some more traction, because Grimace is like a thing with Gen Z. Like,
is he?
Yes. Yeah. It's
all
a thing.
All the TikTokers, yeah.
It's a thing.
Oh, see, you guys are cooler than me.
I've just read
no
about
idea.
it. I'm not
All right, coming up.
Yes, this lady is still mentioning something like, it looks like it was staged. Trump, we know what has happened to him. I think about 3 times. There need to be security. They need to check. They need to do a lot before he can appear in this place. It's not like before where a presidential candidate can go anywhere without really, looking into all this. But at this time, they need to, take into consideration a lot of things. Now, going back into Kamala, we have seen report, I've seen the Washington Post trying to say they have not seen a report. They have struggled to investigate to see if she actually worked there. They are not seeing anything. They should come forward and prove that. Timwa had an interview on The View. A question surfaced to him. He still repeated that case.
Issue because right now, right wingers are coming after you for how you handled your shotgun.
Well, I can shoot better than all of them. I got the trophies to prove it.
What do you say about the perception that the economy is doing poorly, and what?
Yeah.
And what do you say to these Americans who feel like they're struggling?
Yeah, well, if they're saying they are, they are. And I think for all of us of prices being out there, I think that's why Vice President Harris has made it very clear that that is a top priority, whether it's focusing on home ownership, which we know these proposals work. If you do things with down payment assistance and you create 3 million more homes, we were able to do it on a state level in Minnesota. Now Minneapolis has 12% more homes and rents went down 4% last year. This can work on a national level. Vice President Harris and I grew up middle class. We understand that. She actually worked in a McDonald's. She didn't go and pander and disrespect McDonald's workers by standing there in your red tie and take a picture. His policies are the ones that undermine those very workers that were in that McDonald's, whether it's home ownership, health care, reproductive rights, or cost of products. So there's more work to be done. But just to be very clear, nothing Donald Trump is proposing does anything about the middle class.
He's still repeating the same talking point. With no proof. That is where my problem is. If they had a proof to back this up, I will understand. And that is something that always triggered me when they always go back, oh, I grew up in a middle class. You know, if you look at Kamala Harris' responses to questions, she always circle back to this, oh, I grew up, oh, I grew up. A question that doesn't even warrant you to go back into this, she will do the same. And this guy is just doing the same. Thank you guys who has been there sharing all my videos. God bless you abundantly. Never stop to support me.
You'd have to put Hulk Hogan in there.
She's the one who is still undefined. Trump has a coalition of voters made up of A, people who really do like him, and B, people who think with all of his flaws, he's still better than far-left insanity. And the voters' big doubt about Kamala is, are you part of far-left insanity?
A few weeks ago, Bima had predicted that Trump cannot win. But from the look of things today, he is gradually looking at it differently.
Support for former President Trump.
Oh, the invitation. It is Elon Musk. Biggest.
To be one of the world's great. Understand, if Trump doesn't win, they'll be coming after me.
The thing that Donald Trump has ever done is divided this country. America will only be great if you.
All right, everyone, November 5th, election mania. Choice is yours. You can go with President Trump, Kane, and The Undertaker, or you can take Kamala Harris, Dave Bautista, and Tim Walz.
Talking about what he said before the speech to black men.
Is there a Democratic Party? Extreme left.
Trump is nearly dominating this lady in all the polls.
No, Dems are not scared to death.
Enterprise. If you are over 18, please register to vote for something else.
Are now stepping forward.
Seen before.
I don't care if they write that. No, it was right, and you got.
I'm going to shake it off.
It's like 73% said they're voting for Trump.
Okay, yeah.
Kamala, you hired me 4 times. I tell him, I'm like, I'll just pop. How dumb are you? Trump's running. And this. People keep trying to